Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the SMISEACOW K2 Multifunctional Touch Keyboard. Now this retails for a little over $400 US. I'll include a link in the description, and in full disclosure, this was furnished to me by the manufacturer for review purposes. Now, with that said, this is a very expensive, but also very unique keyboard. And that's because not only are you getting what should be a solid experience out of its mechanical RGB, I would say nearly 65% keyboard, but then you also have a 12.6-inch touchscreen, which really acts as, I would say, ideally a secondary display, but of course could be used as a primary display in a pinch. So, expensive, but really dynamic. I've never seen anything like it, and we're about to see it. So there's that resolution on the 12.6-inch built-in display, 1920 by 515p, 60 hertz refresh rate. The brightness should be more than enough, I feel like. Maybe not for every use, but for the majority that I could imagine. 1200-to-1 contrast ratio. And then on the back of the box, just the inclusion of accessories. Of course, there is a little bit of a height adjustment with this. You also get a wrist rest, you get a key puller for customization, Type-C cable, as well as a Type-C to HDMI and dual USB-A port host cable. So let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box. This is how this came, which is perfectly fine. And this I even saw kind of come off. Not necessarily the recommended way. You're going to want to slide it in most cases, but this just seems like it's going to work out. So I'm going to go that route. Keep things a little bit cleaner, hopefully. And let's take a look inside here. Nice packaging, I have to say. There is the keyboard itself. Now, the keyboard, I did not mention, Gateron, I believe this is a Gateron Blue Switch incorporated here, but I think they have additional options. You can go with red or brown. So really a matter of what you're looking for. Let's see if I can lift this out of here. We've got a little bit of a screen protector on the touch display, which, you know, it cannot be angled for anyone that is wondering. It is in a fixed position. The only thing you can do to angle this device, of course, the actual feet on the bottom. So that's the only way you're going to change the angle of this display. But let me go ahead and put this aside, and we'll get back to it in a moment. And it's just a really unique piece of hardware. Build quality seems good based on what I've seen so far. Combination of what appears to be aluminum and different plastic. But solid build quality. It's fairly hefty. But it could still be something you could travel with if that's what you're really after. This is the first cable I'm touching here out of the box. And it is a Type-C. This is, okay, so this is what you would be using in the event that your system that you want to use this with, remember, it should work with pretty much anything. Windows, Mac, anything mobile, Android, you should be fine. But in the event you can't connect over Type-C, this is going to permit you to connect this Type-C right here to the keyboard, and then you're going to have to route this to what hopefully on your system will be an HDMI. If you don't have one, then I guess this is not going to work out in order to get video onto this display, and then two Type-A USB cables. Now, that's in the event you don't have Type-C, which is the way you want it to be. That's how it's meant to operate, and that's because that's the beauty of having a Type-C cable in this particular instance, because you're going to connect this, and through a single cable, you're going to have your standalone dedicated keyboard and your second display. No drivers are necessary. I'll predominantly be using this in a Windows environment, and I do not anticipate having any issues. Then we've got a keyboard rest, little cushion here so you don't get fatigue. We'll see if I end up using that or not. That's not something I generally do, but who knows, maybe it'll be a good idea for this. And then we've got a carry case for the keyboard, which at this price point, it being a premium product of this nature, I think is totally appropriate. The keycap remover, again, you can customize the keys if that's what you're after. So you have that ability with this pry tool to pop them off, replace them with whatever cap you prefer. And last but not least, we have our actual instruction manual, which I'm probably going to have to go through because, you know, this is something where it is plug and play. You're going to have a little bit of a learning curve with the fact that you don't have a traditional 100% layout. It's not even close in this case. I believe their K1 is closer, but that means, you know, if you rely on function keys, you're going to have a bit of an issue. So I'm gonna check out the instructions before I start giving anyone a first look at actual performance. But what I will do right now is get this packaging out of the way, take a closer look at the actual keyboard itself, because I do want to have a better command of what that looks like, and I'm sure many of you do as well. So up at the top, let's flip this around. And again, build quality seems really nice on this. Better than I anticipated, but until I get the screen on and see how that works, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So we've got a minus and plus button right there, which I'm assuming allows you to navigate the built-in menu, and I'm assuming this is that button, unless that also doubles as a power button for the keyboard. And then we have a Type-C port and the two USB-A ports. Now, what I will say about the I/O on this is that this is a first run of this device. And if it works well, I think it's going to be popular with anyone that sees a practical use for the secondary display. And I think there are a lot of you. I think that whether you work in design, anything where having that secondary display and also the benefit of touch input makes things a little bit quicker, there are plenty of use case scenarios. I think that's where this is going to be a welcomed addition to anyone's setup. But I feel that the USB hub section on this, it's good that we got these two Type-A ports, but they are USB 2.0, so they're really only designed with that level of throughput to be used for peripherals. So if you wanted to connect a mouse, I think that would be an obvious use of this port. Maybe a low-capacity jump drive where you're not worried about transfer speeds, but otherwise these are just better than not having ports. Ideally, I can tell you right now, as a first look at this hardware, I like where it's going. I would love if a Thunderbolt port was built into this. On the flip side, you could just combine a Thunderbolt mini dock with something like this, and then you have pretty much everything under the sun. But just have to be aware, you are using that Type-C port. Some machines may only have one. Your laptop may have more than enough I/O. It's really a matter of what you're using it for, but nothing else to really show on the sides. Very clean. And again, this feels like polycarbonate. It feels like we have metal on the bottom just based on temperature of the actual material, but just a really nice build quality. Let's go ahead and peel off that sticker. And yeah, please don't squeeze, don't pierce, and remove the protective film. And there you have it. It's pretty high gloss, but I don't know, it looks pretty good to me. I mean, this is something that, again, I think is going to be practical. Another thing I'll say at first glance is that, of course, this reminds you of laptops that have secondary built-in displays, namely what Asus does, and they do a great job. That monitor can move. That's on the actual deck. This can't. Right now, that's with the feet up. I mean, we're going to have to see how well this ends up working out. I imagine you're going to have to be very much upright in order to make proper use of this display. So it's not something where you can really, let's say, be reclined back or away from the desk typing at a distance. I mean, maybe I'll be able to catch some things. After all, my vision is corrected and I should be able to catch it. But there you have it. Again, pretty cool. Kind of feels like a bit of the future has entered the studio today, and just excited to be able to test it out and share it with all of you. I will be posting an update, of course, on how well this works with, I would say, mostly Ultrabooks, other laptops, and some mobile devices. But if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.